I'll let you know when it's live.
That's
Yep.
not, our street, county's, county had 2 trucks there the whole time. Called our backer in.
How are you?
Tyler Drum was there, our backer was there.
All right.
Can't complete. All
You
of
guys
that's
ready to
gonna
go?
be Put into a bill. Probably 30.
I'm going to call to order the Community and Economic Development Committee meeting on Tuesday, January 20th. We have one item on the agenda, and it is the storage unit moratorium. I had a chance to touch base with Dennis West about the moratorium and to kind of review it and to review some other documents. And I wanted to talk to the committee about this possibility. I am not a fan of extending this moratorium for another year. I feel like it doesn't make sense. We need to do something. We have some of the comprehensive plan that we can take a look at and see kind of how to write up an ordinance for this, that we need to truly develop a storage unit, storage facility ordinance that is in our, that we have, that outlines like whether it's how many or how big, or kind of like give some guidelines on this instead of completely restricting it.
So I think we before though, I think we need some bit of a moratorium, whether we extend it.
That was going to be my suggestion.
Yeah, it's going to say, because I think that because of the limited amount of land that we have right now in Ravenna, in the city, and there's very little, no economic, well, very, very little, sorry, economic development profit off those.
Yeah.
That we'd be foolish to allow too many of those. And also, sorry, I can't talk too well. I got a little bit of a throat here. Anyways, I feel that this has to definitely be extended for at least, 6 months. And hopefully that would give this committee enough time to have either very, very strict guidelines or the moratorium to maybe when one is gone, possibly another. I mean, at the time to reevaluate. But I think there has to be something very strict in place and a continuance of it until we can, one of the two happen.
And that's what I was going to recommend, just not doing for a full year, that either three or 6 months to give us time to develop language for an ordinance that kind of outlines what we want for our city as storage units come.
Well, the way we move.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, so I was just say, the way we kind of move at times, I would recommend the 6 months and not try to mess around with the 3 months.
Back in the way of review again, why did we put the moratorium in place? What is the reason that
Because
we put it in place?
The land, the land, the amount of land that the city had available and the economic effect that they have in the community. For one, they provide very little economic development. You don't make a good tax base on them. And when you would have the possible opportunity of bringing in, like, say, a restaurant, or if a piece of property where there's something, maybe a little bit more value, instead of putting something where people just store stuff, and also, the appeal of what they look like possibly in a neighborhood, or the areas that could be questionable. But it was recommended to us at the time by our economic development director, because there were some potential areas that were possibly that could have been looked at that would not have been a benefit to the neighborhoods and to our city.
So further questions, though, on this, I voted for the moratorium, as I recall, back when it came up. Do we currently have zoning that restricts the storage units to certain places, for example, the industrial or commercial area of town? No, so there's no zoning on it. What do we think about the idea, though, that as a council, we're choosing what someone can do with their property?
I'm okay with it to some point.
Well, let me just continue with the thought a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm just presenting another point of view. Say I didn't like fast food, and I think fast food is terrible for us. I think the buildings are gaudy. I think it's not a good idea. And I say we should put a moratorium on fast food in the city, my opinion, okay? If I could get enough people to convince,
Right?
could we do that? Could we limit them? Could we put a moratorium on them? If I didn't like furniture stores, and I says I want to put a moratorium on furniture stores, a guy has a spot in downtown Ravenna that he wants to open up a furniture store in it, we have a moratorium on it. I don't know. I just question that. I don't like them. They're ugly. No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. They do not add to the beautiful aesthetic of the city, I believe.
So there are some cities that in their ordinance put, so instead of eliminating them completely, they're saying these are the areas where they can be, or they can only take up 50% of the land, or they have to be built of this material, like kind of outlining, and that's kind of where I was thinking to go, so that they could still be there, but there's rules and regulations that would have to be followed to make sure that they did fit in with what we're trying to do.
I would say another component to making these decisions should be, well, we have two, how many does the city need?
Right.
You know, I mean, if they're at half capacity with two, you know, does our city, on behalf of our residents, need a third one? Would be a question I think the city could engage in. But just to say we don't like them, let's ban them, I think is a little bit over.
When we say we have two, we have the one on 59 and the one on 88?
No, there's one on 88, and then there's one on 14 near the,
44 by the hospital.
yeah.
So they're both in the corner.
Yeah, they're pretty close to each other.
Yeah, well, what about the ones out toward Walmart?
That's township.
Township.
But it's a good
But city
point.
people can use them.
It's a
Yeah.
good point. Do we want it to be more regional?
Isn't there another one up closer to the emergency building? Isn't there another one there?
Yeah, but that's not us, but that's.
They're close in the vicinity. We have in the
No,
proximity
the
of them.
town. Where does the township end? Oh, at Brown.
Yeah.
At Brown, okay.
And then there's also one
So
on
there's two on Main
44
Street.
right in Ritztown as you cross over.
Okay.
So there are quite a few, and I did reach out to one of them, I've not heard back, to try to see what their capacity is, but
We want to look what's plan too for our city, what we want our city to look at like as well. And again, yeah, I may not like them personally, not that I don't like them, but a multitude of them. I just think it's a waste of land personally. But I'm also, it's what residents residents say to you, whether or not it's like, I feel like I'm also a voice for them. And in the end, I mean, we're their voice too, not our own voice. So when I speak, it's not only just personally, it's also for my constituents.
I remember when we put the moratorium in place, there was a person that had approached the city about wanting to put one in. Is that person still desiring feedback on what we're doing? And do they have questions about this right now?
I have received a question recently, when the moratorium expires. So part of this was to preserve the open space at the city that is still within city limits. So this passive income that people seek, that's generally inexpensive to build since they don't have to hire employees. Once they're built forever. That land doesn't come back. We only have a couple parcels of a few acres or more currently. So one of the other, to further define storage units, I get questioned about the pods, the U-Haul pods. People have asked me if we would permit it in the old Tops parking lot. The land on Lake Avenue, the man purchased, the local businessman purchased that land very inexpensively, about 9 acres, and is asked if he could put open air storage, basically let people park vehicles there. It's passive income for these people. It's not
Yeah.
very inexpensive.
And most of these owners don't live in our city and don't care. I mean, I don't want to say it like
No,
that.
you're right. No, you're
But they
exactly
don't,
right.
they're, it's like Monopoly. They're trying to make money and it's an
Yes.
investment. We have to protect what is ours.
And a lot of them don't live in the county.
I would just be careful about saying what is ours. It's
It
not
is. It's the
ours.
city's.
No, it's not. It's a privately owned property.
It's our community. We live here, Rob.
Yeah, but using the term own, I think, is inappropriate.
Well, we own this community, when you live here and you're invested here, that is what you can interpret it how you want to interpret it. That's how I feel. It's our community.
But I think at and just hearing the conversation, I think really looking at developing an ordinance, and maybe, Bob, this is something you can help with, in putting language in about appearance, location, the percentage of storage facilities, does that allow for the pods? Like, because I did see some language on that as well as there are some cities that do not allow open air storage where you could park RVs and campers, and there are some cities that don't. So really having conversation, or does it have to be fenced? There has to be a security system, like all the things that have to be put in place. So maybe those are some things we could start exploring, and it still attends to everyone's concerns, but we're not outright banning it. But we need to start working on something, because it's been far too long, and I don't feel comfortable extending a moratorium for another year on this. We have the comp plan as a draft that we could at least refer to see like the percentage of land for certain areas. I mean, it is really detailed as far as how much industrial, how much of this we have. So we can kind of look at that and help to develop from there.
I want to just say that my comments do not mean that I'm against the moratorium. As we look to try to protect some of the open space that we have left for future development, I think that's a real issue, and I think it's something that we should be concerned about. So I do not mean to say that I am against the moratorium or very strict restrictions on where they go and what kind goes in there. Because as you begin to talk about pods and open storage,
Yeah.
I'm against all those. So,
But I just want to make sure that we have the right language and the right, as we're moving forward, so that we are doing what's best for Ravenna and our citizens, and that, that language is easy to follow when someone comes and says, well, I want to do this. We have clear outline language that says what can and can't be done.
Carmen, you were trying to talk, I think.
Oh, I was just asking if they had any whoever you talked to, if they had recommendations about what, restricting it to a certain type of zoning designation, like the core industrial.
They're usually
or-
industrial.
Yeah.
Todd Peets has been incredibly helpful as we've gone back and forth about the marijuana dispensaries and how that would fit into the master plan, and he had very specific recommendations, and then he even went a step further and gave me a bunch of what cities in a similar situation are doing.
Yeah, and that's certainly something, I mean, this is obviously just a conversation. We just need to decide at this point if we, are we extending this and for how long so that we can work on this? Larry, did you have something?
It's not on. There's no red light.
Larry Selenius, 123 North Malden. I would just say very briefly, I support the idea of having a moratorium until you decide what laws you're going to do. And I have a friend that was renting a storage facility about the size of a garage for one car. They just raised the price to $330 a month. So there is money being made there. You might want to look at, would it be possible to tax storage facilities?
And that's the thing too, if they start raising prices and say people can't afford them, and like Bob says, they start to set empty, and then, they start to maybe go under, you're going to have this big blob sitting there that, what are you going to do with it?
And I think we do, right? Ms. Lawrence, don't we tax? I mean, there's a business in town. They have to pay a tax.
Right, but they don't have employees. employees.
Yeah, there's no
so
I know,
it's not
but
much
it's
income, but
it's a different
they have
type
a
of
net
tax.
profit, you're going to see a little bit from that.
So I don't know, I mean, to put in a special tax, I don't know. That's a good question, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I've actually had students, and this is sad, that in the Northeast Ohio, that their families have lived in, that they live in storage spaces.
Yeah, and the places that do restrict them, Parma, Strongsville actually bans them. They do indicate typically you can't live in them, you can't like
Well, they
have
all
a
say that.
barbecue there, you know what I mean? You can only go in and to facilitate taking and putting stuff into storage.
So Christine, if you're asking for my recommendation on this committee to you, would be a continuation for no less than 6 months at this point while the committee looks at where they are.
Thoughts? You're on this committee too, sir. Six months, okay.
Yeah, well, since we've done nothing in 1 year, will 6 months make us do something faster? Or should we go back to another year?
I don't want to do another year.
Do you want to do 3 months and really act like we're going to work on it?
But if we get it
I'd be
done, we can
afraid.
always put it in place sooner. I mean, it's not like we can't.
That's true.
I think 3 months is too
I would defer
short.
to like a 6 month. If we get it done, you can always
Right.
cancel the moratorium. If 6 months pass and we can't agree on anything, you could put in another moratorium for another 6 months.
So my plan is going to be for our meeting next month is to have some language, some recommended language. And Rob, we already have some recommended language as far as this, so.
Well, from other cities,
Right.
nobody's crafted
Right.
anything for Ravenna. I would just point out, it is on the committee of the whole agenda.
Oh.
I don't,
It's okay, we just don't have to talk about it.
we can take it off.
I feel
mean,
like
do you
we need
want-
to really develop some language, and I think just in talking with everybody here, in hearing some of the important things, so location, those, making sure that
I'm
those
saying
things are targeted.
if the vote or the will of the committee is to put it off before doing any kind of action, then we'll just take it off the committee of the whole.
I think the will of the committee is to extend it for 6 months.
Oh, well-
Extend the moratorium
oh,
for
okay.
6 months.
Right.
Oh, okay.
At least that's my understanding, so that we can take the time.
Oh, okay.
To
I
put
get
the, to then next month have language developed.
Okay, so
and
we'll
be
keep
able
it
to-
on the committee of the whole, if
Yeah,
that's
I
what the
think
committee
so.
wants.
Right?
That's fine, that's my choice. It's up to.
Instead of
others.
extending it for a year.
I see 1, 2. Yeah,
I'm not gonna vote.
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
All right, does anybody else have anything to add on the storage unit piece?
Well, I believe 2 is plenty for here, and if for some reason one decides to fold, and if for some reason it could be taken down or whatever, just no more can be, another business can't resume the same storage unit there and just go down to 1. There are instances where they can be important. If someone's moving and needs to move their belongings in there for a short term, as an example, I've heard of some houses get sold quicker than the owner anticipates.
Right.
There's definitely a need for them, certainly, but I think,
How many?
you know,
Yes.
we need to make sure that it's what works for our city without outright banning them. Like,
Yeah,
that's important to me at least.
and just to share some comments, and just if you drive around, you see no shortage of them either, like in the
Yeah.
township and further out too. So there's not a shortage of storage units within Portage County. And given how many are around this kind of an area, even thinking about like logistics for busing, just where people are, thinking of like where routes and things go, a lot of them are in this kind of central corridor around like our chunk of the area, going westward towards Kent too, and in that periphery where the land is cheaper. But I think that based on Ravenna's needs for all the things that people want in this town and the things that we need, I think the land can be better used.
All right, anything else? Do we have a management update? No?
Wow.
Ooh, that's loud tonight. All right, then I will,
Somebody watch that guy.
I could talk a little slower, but
We'll just
5:49 PM, I'll adjourn my
We'll just wait.
meeting.